Hey there, my name's Katie. Welcome to this Yin at the Wall practice. So this is a shorter Yin practice that can be done any time of day, but the intention with this sequence is really about sort of accessing the more calming elements of Yin. So it veers a little bit more toward restorative. So it's that kind of line between the applied intentional stress of yin, but also sort of the more relaxation side of restorative. So this is a great practice for the evenings, for after work, before bed, but it could also be great when you get up in the morning. And so, really, the only prop that you need for this class is a wall. But there are additional things that you are welcome to use, and I'll show you some options with those as well. So I have a blanket, a cushion, and a bolster. If you don't have a bolster, you could also use a stack of firm blankets. So let's jump right in. So we'll start by laying on your back. So make your way towards the wall and set your hip, so either hip, fairly close to the wall. And then from there, start to swing your upper body perpendicular to the wall as you bring your legs up. Okay, so for this first pose, you don't have to be right against the wall, and you may choose to adjust as you kind of settle in. We'll start with squat at the wall, or malasana as you might know it. So widen your feet a little bit wider than your hips. And so this is where you may decide to move closer or further away from the wall. And angle your feet out slightly. Doesn't matter how much or how little. Okay, so you want to find a place where you feel a little bit of sensation through your groin, your hip flexors, or maybe your inner thighs, your adductors. But we're not looking for anything super intense, so just a mild amount of sensation here. Something that you can hold comfortably for the length of time that we're in this pose. Another thing that I like to note here is personally, I like to really set myself up so that the back of my pelvis is flat on the floor. For some of us, we tend to round through the pelvis as our hips come into flexion. So that's with our legs moving towards the front of our bodies. So I wiggle myself back just enough that my sacrum can rest on the floor. And you can do whatever is comfortable with your arms. So rest them on your thighs, overhead, or by your sides. And as you start to settle in, become aware of what sensations you experience in this pose. Notice the location and the quality of sensation. And throughout this practice today, I encourage you to keep checking in with yourself, checking in physically first, noticing what you're feeling, and adjusting yourself accordingly. So again, you want to find a small or gentle amount of sensation in most of these poses today, but you never want it to be intense or straining or any sort of striving toward a deep stretch of any kind. We tend to need to stay on the gentler side for this type of practice. And checking in with sensation allows you to be really present to whatever's going on. And this is a really beautiful way to start to establish the mindset of mindfulness, because our bodies are always with us, they're always present. So it becomes a really beautiful tool to start to tap in to what's going on within. And of course, you could always use any other mindfulness techniques that maybe you already work with. Maybe focusing on your breath or sounds within the room. Some people like to work with a mantra. But for the purpose of this practice today, I will mainly focus on mindfulness of body sensations. We'll be holding each pose today for about 5 minutes. If you need to come out earlier, that is absolutely always an option. If you wish to stay longer and it's appropriate in your own body and your own practice, then you can always pause the video and hang out for longer. So we'll slowly start to make our way out of wall squat by walking your feet in towards the center. Maybe lifting your feet up the wall a little bit. And then I'm just going to let my knees be neutral, just to bring my hips back to neutral. So you may choose to also take windshield wipers at the wall, adding some nice, slow, intentional movement here. We may also choose to bring knees to chest, Apanasana. Or any other movement that feels good. And from here, start to slide yourself just a little bit away from the wall till your knees are approximately 90 degrees. And go ahead and cross your left ankle over your right knee. So here, again, if the back of your pelvis is lifting and rounding a lot here, then just slide back a little bit further until your spine can come to a neutral position. Okay, so this is swan at the wall. You may choose to adjust the height of the foot that's against the wall. And as you settle into the pose, you may find that maybe you do need more sensation through the hip of your lifted leg. And if that's the case, then just move a little bit closer to the wall. So this is a really nice way to practice swan, without really anything going on in your back. So if you have back injury, if you are needing to avoid spinal extension, which is a back bend, or if you have any instability in your hips or your SI region, this is a really nice way to practice swan, because it kind of takes out a lot of the balancing aspect of the pose. It allows your spine to be neutral, and you have a little bit more of a stable stability through the pelvis here. So this is always a nice option if you're ever in a class and swan is offered but is not necessarily appropriate for you at the time. This is a great alternative. You may notice as you're maintaining an awareness of sensation that for some of you, uh, you may start to experience a bit of a release, probably in this posture through your outer hip. So if that happens, that's normal and it can happen in any pose really. It could be used as an invitation to explore a little bit of a deeper version. So if that's the case, if you feel like it's appropriate for you to move closer to the wall, you can do so. If what you really need is to bring your right knee up towards your chest to deepen the sensation in your hip, then you're welcome to do that too. Now notice if you are experiencing any unintentional gripping or tensing of your muscles anywhere in your body. So I like to check in with my jaw, especially because that's where I personally hold a lot of tension. So notice if there's anything going on there, and if there is, can you invite a little bit of a sense of softening? If at any point your legs start to feel numb or tingly, electric or fiery, that's a sign from your body that you need to release yourself from this inverted state. So your legs are higher than your heart here. So just be mindful of any sort of feeling like that. And it's just a sign to take a break. So you can release yourself from the wall, rest or move in whatever way you need, and then come back later. Gently start to uncross your left ankle and place your left foot against the wall. Maybe even stretch your leg just straight for a moment. When you feel ready, begin to make your way to the other side. Right ankle over left knee. You may notice this side feels different than the other. But for me, I feel a little tighter on this side, so I'm going to scoot away from the wall just a little bit. I'll make any adjustments that are suitable to you. And find a place that you can rest into stillness for the next few minutes. Of course, the caveat being that you can always come out sooner if you're experiencing an amount of sensation that is not appropriate for you. And also, if you do experience that sense of opening, an invitation to perhaps go a little bit deeper, then you're welcome to explore that too. So much of our lives are spent doing, striving, achieving, pushing, goal setting. And those things can all be really important aspects of life. However, they need to be balanced with the opposite in order to find a place of harmony, a place of balance, and um, a place that you can feel like you're getting everything that you need. And so this practice here is just that. It's the opposite of the striving, of the doing. And instead, we can welcome a sense of allowing, a sense of being. Take this as an opportunity to rest into ourselves without any preconceived notions about how we should be, what we should be doing. And this practice is for you. So, whatever you need here, you need to even take a totally different pose at any point. It's your practice, so go with that. We'll be here on this side for about another minute. And check back in with yourself. What is going on in your physical body? What can you notice? What can you feel? And that can lead to deeper states of knowing yourself internally. So you start from the body and work inward, maybe focusing on the breath, checking in there, and becoming aware of your mental or emotional state. Gently begin to uncross your leg. And take any movement that you need to counter the previous pose. Okay, from here, we'll make our way onto our bellies. So moving from the supine position into a prone position. So we'll come into Sphinx pose. I'm going to go ahead and move straight into Sphinx with the wall, holding my shins and feet. But if you are sensitive to back bending, spinal extension, or you want to start out really gentle for whatever reason and then maybe work your way towards the wall, then I would recommend actually not using the wall for this pose. So you'll just have to gauge what's suitable for you. And some people may love the sensation of using the wall, and then you can adjust the height of your upper body accordingly. So let me show you what I mean by that. I'm also going to use my bolster for this. So again, you could use pillows or blankets to replicate that. So make your way down onto your belly. So for me, I'm sliding myself back towards the wall until my feet can rest. So you don't have to have your shins at 90 degrees either. You could be further away from the wall. For me, I know that this works in my body, so that's why I'm doing this, but you can adjust as you need. And the bolster can be really awesome as a way of supporting your upper body so you don't have to rely on your arms holding you as much. Sometimes my arms get a little tired when I'm in Sphinx upright for a while, so this is an option. I'm going to take a moment to wiggle in, make any little adjustments that you need. Another option, which I don't have with me right now, but you could use a block or some sort of prop in front of you to rest your forehead down. So again, we'll be here for 5 minutes. A couple other options as you settle in. You could play around with the width of your knees. I personally like to have them a little bit wider than my hips in this posture. Some people might like to have them closer, so that will be determined by your own body. A little bit of activation through your glutes here is actually okay. So keep in mind that's not any sort of clenching or gripping. However, glute engagement does help to extend the spine. So if that's appropriate in your body and you want to play around with that, you could just very gently engage through the glutes. It's optional. I tend not to when I'm in this really supported version of the pose, but that might be something you want to try. So again, become aware of what specifically you're feeling and where. What qualities of sensation can you experience? Can you describe? How does this pose make you feel right now? Whether that's physically, emotionally, mentally. Is there anything else you need to feel supported in this posture? Maybe notice if you are clenching at all through your shoulders. I just observed mine and I was feeling a little bit of tension there. So maybe bringing some softness through your neck and shoulders. If you notice that maybe the sensation has lessened for you, then you could try gently, very mindfully moving yourself closer to the wall. And for the last couple minutes, you could raise up through your upper body a little bit more. For some of you, this will be appropriate, and for others, it won't. So you decide. Some of you may even choose to take seal pose for the last minute and a half or so. If that's the case, widen your hands towards the edges of your mat. Turn your fingers outward and then gently begin to straighten your arms. We'll hang out here for a couple more rounds of breath. And to come out of this pose, if you're using the wall, is not the most graceful thing, but if you're mindful of your movement and nice and slow, then you'll sort of stay within the parameters of this yin practice. So gently start to roll to one side. Make your way to all fours. And then move away from the wall so you can lower all the way down to your belly. Bring your palms in front of you. Slide your left knee up towards you along the floor and turn your head to face your left knee. So you're welcome to stay in this counter pose as long as you'd like. Just make sure that you do about the same length of time on either side. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to start to transition to the other side. Gently slide your right knee back down. And from here, we'll make our way toward the wall again. Have your props nearby. And once again, scoot your hips close to the wall so that you can swing your legs up the wall. And then from here, we'll move toward what I'll call Shavasana today, but we'll take it with legs up the wall. So a really nice supportive option, this is very restorative, is to wrap a blanket around your legs. So you could use your blanket to really secure your legs together. And then your pillow, your bolster, or another blanket could go under the back of your pelvis. So make any adjustments that you need. And see if you can draw your shoulder blades underneath you a little. Let your palms rest up. If you're wearing glasses, this is a great time to remove them so you don't have any distractions. Again, start by checking in areas of holding, of tension. And can you intentionally direct your breath towards those spaces so your attention moves towards the places that could welcome a little bit of softening. You're welcome to stay in legs up the wall for as long as you would like or as long as you have time for. Again, the caveat being if you experience any tingling, aching, electric or fiery feelings, that's a sign that you need to come out. But otherwise, take a nice, long, supportive Shavasana here. This is for you, a chance for you to rest within and to shut down all the noise and distractions from your daily life and really focus inward. Oh, stay here for whichever length of time you'd like and come out of the pose basically the way you came in by bending your knees towards you and rolling to one side. So this is where I'll leave you. I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you next time.